guys, I'm Josh Mosiman. Welcome to This Week in MXA, episode number 188, presented by O'Neill Racing. Thank you guys for tuning in. Busy time in the motocross action world. Still recovering from shoulder surgery. It's been about 2 weeks now as of the day of recording this video. Scar is looking good and we're doing a lot better. Physical therapy is going well. But in this video, we're going to talk about the Washougal National this past weekend. Also talk about upcoming bike tests and recent bike tests that we just did. Also head to Glen Helen and do some testing on the Kawasaki KX250 and talk about the newest chapter of MXA, the MXA Mini Wrecking Crew. Starting off with the 450 class, it has been very impressive to see Chase Sexton turn his season around after being very vocal early on in Supercross, how he was not comfortable with the KTM 450, and now fast forward to outdoors, he's got a 7 moto win streak. 7 in a row he's won motos, starting also all the way back at the second moto at Southwick, all the way through 1-1 scores at Washougal. He now has a 28-point lead over Hunter Lawrence in this championship, and he's looking rock solid doing it. He had to come from behind both motos. Wasn't super far behind, but he did make a lot of quick passes early in the races, early in the first lap, and also some impressive passes throughout the moto, going around the outside of multiple riders, just making passes where you don't think it's possible. It was pretty impressive to see. Washougal is known for being a hard track to pass on, and people were talking about it all day, but if you're fast enough, it's possible, and it's just crazy to see that Chase Sexton had that big of a gap and that much of a speed advantage over the competitors at the very top of our sport. So awesome to see Chase Sexton battling at the front. Pretty cool to see him turn it around with KTM and now really get comfortable with the bike. You can tell he's riding a lot more relaxed at the beginning part of the motos, and he's talked about it in many interviews, finding his flow and then picking it up and just going strong all the way to the end, even doing extra laps in that first moto. So that was pretty cool to see. Chase Sexton riding awesome. Hunter Lawrence was off the podium for the first time this outdoor season. That's crazy impressive stat for him. Finished 4th overall as a season worst. On a bad day, he's 4th in his rookie 450 outdoor season. So congratulations, Hunter. You've been doing awesome. The Honda 450 team has had a podium outdoors at every outdoor round since the beginning of 2022, back when Chase Sexton and Eli Tomac were battling. Then also look back to outdoors last year when Jet Lawrence won every single round. This year, Jet was on the podium at the first round, winning it. Since then, Hunter Lawrence has been on the podium at every single round. Impressive for Honda to have that string of podiums. Unfortunately, it ended for them, and they'll have to start it back up in a couple weeks at Unadilla. My last note on the 450 class, it was awesome to see Aaron Plessinger and Jason Anderson on the podium this weekend, but I want to ask you guys, the viewers, what do you think about this pass that Jason Anderson put on Hunter Lawrence early in the moto? It kind of come across him pretty aggressively in that first moto, and to me, I would say that's a dirty pass. I don't think that's recommended, but at the same time, it's something that's kind of exciting to see, the rivalry between Jason Anderson and the Lawrence brothers, and it's cool to see Hunter Lawrence keep his composure even under circumstances like that. So let us know in the comments, was that dirty, was it bad, or was that just a standard motocross racing incident? I'm here to say it's a little bit dirty and you shouldn't be doing that very often, but slower speed straightaway. Hunter Lawrence is a good enough rider. He was able to save it. Many other riders wouldn't be able to save that and they would go down. So congratulations to both those guys, and interesting stuff. Talking about the 250 class, man, Haiden Deegan continues to step up to the plate and impress. He is a little bit cocky, especially with his interviews, but man, he backs it up every single time. Now he has a 54-point lead after going 2-1 with Tom Vial going 1-2 at the Washougal National. So congratulations to Haiden Deegan. He now can wrap up the championship at the Budds Creek National if he just maintains this 50+ point lead through the end of the second moto at Budds Creek. That means he'll win the championship. He'll already have the #1 plate and all the pressure off his back going into the season finale at Ironman. Now, one thing you guys should know, this is maybe not so widely known among our industry and among the average viewer of motocross and supercross. I know I've talked to a couple people about it. Supercross is where you have the point out rule. So if he were to win Supercross this year like RJ Hampshire and Tom Vial did, that would give Haiden Deegan only 1 more year to defend the title, and then he would be forced to move up to 450s for Supercross in 2026. Haiden did not win the Supercross championship, so that means he'll be eligible to ride 250s for a couple more years at least. Even if he wins the outdoor championship, because because it is a national championship, it's not a regional championship where it's split up into East and West, that will not affect his eligibility to race Supercross or outdoors for years to come. So that's the reason why a guy like Joey Savatgy is able to drop down to the 250 class after he was pointed out just to race outdoors. Savatgy won't be able to race Supercross next year in the 250 class though, so he'll have to figure something out with Triumph. Hopefully they'll have a bike ready in time for Supercross next year. But right now, talking about Haiden Deegan, very impressive with the worldwide internet shutdown, or the countrywide internet shutdown on Friday before Washougal. Haiden had to rent a private jet to get to the race, and he said he spent a race win bonus on it. Well, it paid off. He got the race win and came out on top at Washougal. Also, we have to talk about Tom Vialle and Levi Kitchen. First off, Tom Vialle talked about a hand injury from the weekend prior, and he said that that kind of affected him, and he was hoping for just a top 5 finish at Washougal. So it was technically a successful day for Tom Vialle to go 1-2 in the motos. He didn't lose any points to Haiden, but obviously didn't gain any either. So for him, riding with an injury, that gives him some kind of hope leading into the final 3 rounds that once that hand feels a little bit better, he'll be able to ride even better than he did at Washougal, and hopefully put up a fight for the last 2 rounds with Haiden Deegan. But Haiden is looking awesome right now. Levi Kitchen, he had a tough race at his hometown track. He came in and got 12th in the first moto and 4th in the second one, I believe. Tough day for Levi Kitchen at his hometown track, especially considering he came in with 1-1 scores at the Millville National just 1 week prior. I really feel for Levi though. He talked about it in his post-race interview that you underestimate how much energy is spent leading up to a hometown race, because you're kind of pulled in different directions, you're hanging out with friends and family, your mind is just going into different places. You're also back home, maybe he relaxed a little bit more, or maybe he was more nervous with the crowd behind him. There's so many factors that come into play, and I really feel for Levi. I'm a people pleaser. I love hanging out with people at the races. Even if I'm supposed to be eating or getting my bike ready, or taking a nap, or doing whatever I can to be mentally prepared and physically prepared to go racing, I would much rather just go hang out and talk with people, and I think Levi is probably the same. Unfortunate for him, but I'm looking forward to him and the Pro Circuit Kawasaki team rebounding in a couple weeks at Unadilla. Also, I'm still on the injured list, not quite riding yet, but we have posted some recent videos from bike tests that I did before. The KTM 250 SXF for 2025 does have some significant updates. It's the same stuff that was on the factory edition, but it's now trickled onto the KTM 250, so check out that video. Also, Josh Hawley, he's a novice level test rider for us, also a photographer and videographer, helping us capture content here and there. So he did some testing on our KX250 this past week. Let's go talk to him now. All right guys, so the 2025 KX250 is all new and we're excited to ride that one. But before we get that one in a couple weeks, we're spending some extra time on our 24 KX250 model. Josh Hawley, novice level rider, he's been having some fun on this. He rode our Husky FC250 Rockstar Edition bike. It's got that new chassis on it. He loved that bike. 3 months on it with he had the stock air forks for a while, but also the Dalsaggio spring forks on there as well. So he was super comfortable on that bike. Then we threw him on the Green Machine. What was your first impression going from a bike that you loved to this brand new bike that you had never ridden before? Yeah,
the relationship with the Husky was a little bit too close. We fell in love and we got to a good spot. So coming to this bike, actually my first impression was the motor was excellent. It didn't have that big low end yank or the high end rev. It just kind of did everything well. But my immediate response was this chassis and the ergonomics feel way uncomfortable. I usually like bikes. I love bikes at MXA. This is the first time that I was disappointed. And I thought, you know what? I'm gonna have to figure this thing out. So then I looked at the bike and realized there's a lot of adjustments that can be made. Like the foot pegs, they can be moved down. The handlebar mounts, they can be moved forward. The triple clamps and the forks, they can be slid around. The sag can be changed. I mean, heck, you can even loosen up, the bolts on the engine when the chassis breaks in. So there's a lot of adjustability on this bike. And I thought, hey, well, let's give it a shot. I was feeling really cramped in the cockpit. And you know that feeling when you have to kind of push back and get low? It was weighting the rear of the bike and making the characteristics of this front end harshness even worse. So I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna stop there. I gotta figure this out. So lesson to be learned here as the novice guy, move this stuff around. When you find a motor package that you like, all this stuff is fixable and changeable. They don't hardwire these bikes stock right out of the box. Yep. You literally can move stuff around until you're comfortable. I'm 190 pounds, long torso, and my riding style is a little bit low and back. And I was able to make this bike from the most uncomfortable bike I've ridden to one of my top 3. So now I'm thinking, okay, 2025's coming. like, is that bike gonna be as good as I got this thing right now?
That's pretty impressive. So Kawi is the most adjustable motorcycle on the market, specifically because of the foot pegs. Also the 25 models, they have the adjustable optional engine mount, so you can do 2 different engine mounts that come stock. So that's kind of wild. But what did you do specifically? Bar mounts, sag, forks, clickers, what did you do to get comfy?
Yeah, bar mounts needed to go to the very front position. There's 2 positions on the bike, and then you can actually move the single mounts forward or backwards for a total of 4 positions. So I put it in the 3rd position, really opening up the cockpit, and then with the suspension, because this is a stiff one right off the get-go,
yep.
I actually wound up going like 8 or 10 clicks softer on compression, and then just needed to speed it up, I think about 4 just to get it back to the ground.
Yep.
And then the last thing that it just needed less sag.
Yeah.
Usually we run 105 around that, and I started messing with it. I put it to 103, 102. As soon as I hit 102, it started planting in the corners. And so the light bulb kind of went on for me right there. Josh, you gotta pick a motor package you like, especially in the 250 department, but this stuff is totally customizable, even down to the grips. That was like the cherry on top. I was like, home right here with these ODI grips, put those things on, and now it's one of my top 3 favorite bikes. So.
And you like the lower foot peg mounts?
I really, really do. Cool. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, I feel like Adam Cianciarulo with that seat up there in the,
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so Josh and Josh, it's a different Josh and Josh show today, but good times in the KX250. Looking forward to the new one coming soon.
Hey, what's going up, guys? My name's Dylan Luttrell. I'm all the way from Alabama, out here in California this week. Thanks to MXA for letting me come out and ride their bikes at the Panic Rev camp. Man, we had a blast out there, riding, training, worshiping, and just had a blast exploring the new bikes. Now I'm out here at Glen Helen riding this new gas electric bike. Man, just checking it out. MXA, man, such a blessing to know these guys, and I'm super appreciative of them. Thank you, guys.
Also, I want to introduce you guys to Ryan DeRico and the new MXA Mini Wrecking Crew. Now, Ryan's been with the MXA crew for a long, long time. His son, Nixon, has helped us with some bike tests in the past, and now they're going to be ramping it up even more as we continue to test more mini bikes, more 65s, 85s, especially with KTM, Husky, and Gas coming out with an all-new 85 for 2025. So, lots of exciting stuff coming down the pipeline for the mini bikes, and we have a new MXA Mini Wrecking Crew to introduce you guys to.
What's up, guys? Motocross action here from beautiful Mammoth Lakes, California for the annual Mammoth Motocross put on by 2X Promotions. Now, last year we brought you guys some mini bike content that had a project bike and some pits shenanigans. This year we decided to up our game a little bit. So I'd like to officially welcome you guys to our MXA Mini Wrecking Crew that's sitting here right here behind me. All right, similar to our big bike counterparts, these little rippers will be testing bikes, products, putting things through motions in front of the race scenery. Now, this stuff would not be possible if it wasn't for our guys at Camworks. Big shout out to them for capturing all the content.
So keep an eye out for the orange helmets, even in the mini bike classes at local races around Southern California, and coming up this next week at Loretta Lynn's. We have a lot of riders going out there. They'll be representing Team MXA at Loretta's. So good luck to our crew out there. Also, stay tuned for Camworks. They're producing some awesome videos for us from the Junior World Championships this past weekend over in the Netherlands. Awesome content coming from there, and we're really excited to put together a whole documentary style story, 2-part series for the Netherlands, and also some in-depth racing from Loretta Lynn's. So Camworks, Andy, and Christian are doing an awesome job covering for MXA, and we're excited to share more content from those guys. All right, guys, that's all for this week at MXA. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one.